Hi, Zeus here. Today we're going to show you combat at level 18 with 4 engines in Season 16. And we have a guest appearance from top player Muckin Foron. Before we get into the combat, I want to discuss good base design because it's critical to getting into the top leaderboard on the US side. So here we've got a sniper tower and boom cannons along the spine of the upper peninsula, and then some cannons at the top. And then we've got a kill zone of shock mines and that sky shield that protects flamethrowers, machine guns. And the group of all these basically make it an anti-seeker base. You just can't use seekers successfully on this base. That means that you have to attack it with heavy choppas and rocket choppas, which substantially slows down your opponent. And then you have to have shock mines, boom mines, and regular mines spread throughout the base in strategic spots. All right, let's get into the combat. Here's an example of how people fail on this well-designed base. This guy's coming in with a typical loadout. He's got some heavy choppas, 4 rocket choppas, and then some seekers. And the seekers are heavily damaged by the initial contact with the flamethrower and that machine gun, and then just die on the mines and the first kill zone by the left rear engine. And before he knows it, he's down to a rocket, a heavy choppa, and that's really not going to get him very far with this base, because once his heavies get into the kill zone, they're done. All right, so here's the battle that I won that got me into level 18. So I did a split attack with 2 groups. One group left heavy choppa with 3 rocket choppas, and one group right with heavy choppa and 3 rocket choppas. And the key to this is throwing down critters or shocks ahead of your rocket choppas so that they never get killed like I should have done there. So anyway, good news is that I won this battle despite that very bad error in being a little bit late with the shock. And then they come in and get the kill. It's sort of an art. Sometimes it makes more sense to throw down critters to distract. Sometimes it makes more sense to throw down shocks. And you got to think about how your heavy choppas are going to drift as they go after things sequentially. Like right there, the rocket choppa came out of the pack. And I still don't know how that died. I had a shock down on everything there, and somehow something took it down. Just bizarre. So here I've got 1 boatload of seekers as a kind of a cleanup crew. And it took down that base down the bottom. And unfortunately, I forgot about that shock mine over there on the left. But it didn't matter. In the end, still beat that base. Okay, now this one, it's important to have your heavy choppas go at the things that are going to damage your rocket choppas, so like boom cannons and cannons. Take those out first and put your heavy choppas in front of them as they drift forward. And again, you just got to shock the boom cannons and cannons as they might come in range with your rocket choppas. There's throwing down good example, throwing down critters, and those critters are going to drift in and take out help take out the cannons and the boom cannons that are there, and put down 1 shock just above the sky shield, just as a precautionary measure in case it takes out a rocket choppa behind the heavy choppa, because that happens sometimes. All right, this one, unfortunately, the heavy chopper sort of drifted to the right. I was really kind of aiming it at that uh, boom cannon in the middle there. And luckily, the rocket chopper got saved by the boom cannon there going after the left heavy chopper, and then I threw a shock down. And then the rest of this base is pretty easy, the way that the heavy choppers drifted into it. Threw down some critters to help take down that engine. All right, here's the battle with Muckin Foron. He's a really good player. I've never gone up against him before, but he's consistently on the U.S. leaderboard. So he's using this attack style where you throw your heavy choppers across the base to take out all of the mines, and then you've got boatloads of seekers coming in behind them, and then you use your bullet to distract the defensive weapons. But he's just getting hammered by my kill zone, and the seekers did not get through. So here's my attack on this guy, Private Peter, and it's one of the few losses that I had recently. And you'll see I made actually 2 mistakes, and that cost me because I lost by 7 seconds. So, the beginning is going very well, but I did delay, unfortunately, a little bit. The rocket chop was coming in, and if you go back and look at it carefully as I did, I lost about 4 seconds because I put the rocket choppers in too slowly. Notice that I did lose one of my heavy choppers, but that's actually a pretty good thing after a minute because they don't generate any more heavies. Now down on the lower end, I should have thrown the critters sooner, and you'll notice I lost 3 seconds because the second final engine didn't go down along with the other one. And if I'd thrown the critters sooner, I could have taken that engine down faster. Anyway, here's his attack on me. It was a very skillful attack. He broke his guys up into 2 groups. There he's throwing down critters to distract, and then a flare. Critters again. Because he's got some rocket choppers in range. And then once that last critter goes down, he takes out one of the rocket choppers. And despite that, he's still got 3 rocket choppers in on the final engine and took out the base. So it's a very good time. This base is a very concentrated base, and it's actually pretty easy to take down with the strategy of the 3 rocket choppers behind a heavy in 2 groups, because there really isn't any drift of the heavy choppers, and you're never really at any risk. You can throw down shocks easily one after another. So I'd say that this is a very bad base design because it's unlikely that you're going to lose any rocket choppers as long as you've got the shocks down properly. And I threw down some critters there at the end just to speed up getting the last engine. On this one, I was a little slow getting the rocket choppers in also, but it didn't matter. I still won, but it would have been better had I put the rocket choppers, particularly on the right, in a little bit faster. And there I lost a rocket chopper because I wasn't quick enough to protect against that boom cannon on the right. So again, it's important to send your heavy choppas after things like that boom cannon on the edge, so that your heavy choppas are shielding your rocket choppas. And then your bullet on the far left is protecting the rocket choppas because it's going to attract the attention of that boom cannon there. The sky shield makes a tremendous difference. You know, it takes so long to knock the sky shield down. If it's properly constructed in base, you cannot flare to the engine. You actually have to chew through the sky shield, and it just takes a while to do. So that's why all the top players are using that sky shield. Again, we're going after that first boom cannon and then letting our guys drift. Now, there we did a little bit of a flare because I didn't want them wasting time on all those defensive items on the right side across the chasm. And here, you know, I really made a bit of a mistake in not flaring them persistently towards something like maybe that left engine that would have got them definitively away, and then even lost one in the process of not moving them. And then I threw the critters on the wrong engine. Anyway, still won it. So now this guy, Blank Sam, he rocked me 2 minutes and 42 seconds, really fast time. So I want to show you his attack. He threw down some critters there initially to distract. Shock. Threw down some more critters to distract. And he's just doing a great job chewing through the base here. And he's got one rocket chopper down on the bottom that just barely survives until it takes out that engine. And there, you know, he lost a rocket chopper, 2, 3 rocket choppers, but in the end, it didn't even matter. He still got 3 rocket choppers onto the last engine, even though he lost 2 right at the end. Anyway, great time, well executed. So with all those battles, winning 8 out of 10, I got up to 282 on the U.S. leaderboard. So next, I just want to show you the tech tree that I was using. And I've got pretty much everything maxed out except for bullet. I haven't opened up one defensive weapon node. I've not maxed out Zookas or the mortar, boom cannon, gunboat energy, the shock launcher. And my plan is to next open up with 60 keys the defensive node there that would give me 2 machine guns, and next will be the barrage. And we're going to max out the gunboat energy and get bullet up to level 2 so we can use shock knuckles. Then I'm going to show you where I'm going to put these additional machine guns to make the killing zone even more powerful. And we're gonna switch that machine gun and the cannon, because the cannon can still reach everything. But now the machine gun is going to be creating an even bigger kill zone. And now there's two items there to get that kill zone even better. And we're going to move the mortar out so the machine gun's right in the flow of items going by.
Many minutes later.
So with the improved base design and kill zone, I worked my way up to number 143 on the U.S. leaderboard. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give us a like and then subscribe. And thanks as always to Hercules for help with the video editing.